Okay, so if you're serious about your meat and you love a good steak and you haven't ever tried this, you need to. Chimichurri. Honestly, I couldn't believe I got to the age of 42 without realising that chimichurri existed. And again, like most things, it is so simple to do. You don't need a lot of ingredients. A little bit of red wine, vinegar, salt, pepper, garlic. I add a little bit of chopped sweet pepper to mine. It just adds a little bit of different flavour. Chopped up flatleaf parsley, oregano, as my friends in America would like to call it, oregano, and a decent quality olive oil. So, let's show you how to make it. Let's get to it. Okay, so first off, we're going to put the garlic in. Finely chopped garlic. That was 2 small cloves. You don't want to go too much with garlic because it will overpower this, and you want all the different elements of flavour to be in it, and you don't want the garlic to just take over. Half a cup of flatleaf parsley, finely chopped. People do blend this, but I find it so much better. You get such a better texture and flavour from chopping it all by hand. So we are simply just going to add the ingredients all together. So we're going to add 1 tablespoon of the dried oregano, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to go with a little bit of pepper, just a few bits. What?
You're going to put a bit of pepper?
Oh. And a few grinds of pepper. I always add a little bit more pepper than I do salt. Again, this is to your flavour preference. Now, with the olive oil, you just add it till it's got a decent consistency. You want it to be fairly wet. You don't want it to be too dry, but again, at the same time, you don't want it swimming. So just add a few glugs of that and then we'll give it a whisk up. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of red wine vinegar. You can use white wine vinegar, red wine vinegar, apple cider vinegar. Again, to your flavour preference, it really is, you can make this your own by adding a little bit extra of this, a little bit of that. But as I say, you really don't want too much garlic to overpower it. So just mix all that together. To be fair, that's about perfect for the consistency. So you're looking for that sort of consistency. As I say, you don't want it swimming in the olive oil. You just want enough to make it nice and wet. So that's what you're looking for. It's best to leave it at least an hour or 2 before you use this, because you've got to let those flavours mingle and release and get to know each other, and it becomes a great mix, let me tell you. Personally, I see in a lot of videos, people say, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 days you can leave this in the fridge. Now, I've made this many times since I knew about this. Honestly, the next day, the flavours are so much different. I'm not keen on it myself. I personally love it when it's about 2 hours after you've made it. Personally, that's just my preference. I honestly think day after, it's a total different flavour. It just doesn't cut it for me. So that's literally it. What we're gonna do, make a nice steak and have it with it. So with that being said, we're gonna let that sit on the side just to chill out and mingle, get to know each other. As I say, let them flavours release, let that garlic work its magic and not overpower it. Don't add too much garlic, all right? Right, so we'll see you in a bit. Okay, so the steak we've got to go with this chimichurri is this lovely Highland cattle. This is one of the best steaks I've seen in a long time. Not being funny, the intramuscular fat on this is awesome. Highland cattle, Scotland's finest. Part of their heritage. John Davidson's Butchers, go online, they're great butchers. If you're in the UK and you're looking for decent quality barbecue food, he's your man. Now, all we're going to do with this steak is add some salt. We're going to dry brine it. Normally something like this I would dry brine it overnight, but today give it about 2 hours in the fridge, just to let that salt do its work, draw a bit of the moisture out and let it soak back in. And we're going to grill it hot and fast, sear it over them coals, get a nice crust on it. Medium, I'm going to go for. Right, see you when we're on the coals, guys. Okay, so we're going to go directly over the coals for this cook. Listen to that sizzle. Always a good sign. With cooking a steak directly over the coals, I like to keep moving it around. I want to get that you know, that nice char all over it. So I just constantly move the steak when I do steak over the coals like this. So just constantly twisting and turning. Not fussed about grill marks or anything like that. I want the char more than anything. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go for an internal temp of about 50 degrees. Then what we'll do is we'll let it rest for a good 10-15 minutes and let that carry over cook happen. What's going on is you've got the heat from the outside still moving in. So when you take that steak off, whatever temp you take it off on the internal temp, it will still keep cooking. They call it the carryover. As I say, just constantly moving. If we get a flare up, I can always move it away. That's why I've got coals to one side, no coals this side. So if it does flare up too much, I can just move it over. That is what you want, that nice sizzle. The smell coming off this is amazing. Constantly flipping and turning. It's flaring up a bit, so I'll just move it away slightly. Look at that. Slowly getting that char all over, that's what we want. Such a nice cut of meat. What a nice sirloin this is. Absolutely gorgeous. Just move it over this side a little bit. Seems to be flaring up a lot in the middle, so I'm just bringing it over a little bit. As I say, constantly turning. Flip, turn, the whole way through. Look at that. That's what you want, all over. Obviously the flare up is a lot from the fat dripping down onto the coals. Not a bad thing. That drips down, creates a nice little smoke that intensifies the flavour. Nice bit of smoky flavour. Oh yeah, look at that. She's getting there. Hot and fast, best way to do steak, absolutely. You could add pepper as well, or put a rub of your choice on, but with a decent cut of beef like this, nice quality, you don't need to add much. That's why I just put salt on. And to be fair, if you put pepper on first, it will burn. It tends to burn, especially when you're doing it this hot. Let's just pull it away a bit. Yeah, we're getting what we want. Look at that. Look at that caramelisation. Flip and turn, flip and turn. Okay, so we just check the temp. 37, we're getting there. I'm going to go to 50, as I say, and then pull it off, let it rest. You see that fat's rendering down nicely, got a bit of a crust on it. You want a crust on that because that is absolutely flavour on so many levels, it's unbelievable. It's all about that constant movement, honestly. With steaks, and I've cooked many, this is the best way I've found personally. You see it's getting a bit dark there, but that doesn't matter. That's just lovely flavour. Right, pull it off, just double check. 49, 40, 41, 40, just on that middle bit, so we'll just get that bit over. Look at that crust. 43, nearly there. What's the temp on that, Alan? 360?
Just below.
Yeah, that's all right. Okay, so we're at the 50 mark. We'll take that off, let it rest, and then slice into it. You just cannot go wrong. Okay, so we've let our beautiful steak rest now. The crust is looking really good. We've got some real nice crispy bits around the edge. Just perfect. That fat's rendered down nicely. So no more talk, let's get to it. That's looking perfect to me. Nice and pink, lovely crust on it. See how pink that is in the middle? Absolutely fall apart tender. Let's give it a try. Very beefy. That crust is just perfect, adds a next level of flavour. Okay, so let's get the chimichurri over it. The beefiness in that flavour of that steak is amazing. And if that's your flavour preference, just a little bit of pepper over the top. I'm not going to add any more salt. I don't need it. I don't think it needs it. So with that being get the fly out of the way. Time for the chimichurri. That is gonna be good, I know it. Let me just get a quick picture. Okay, so let's give it a try with the chimichurri. Pulls apart, so tender. That works so well. The vinegar in there cuts through the fattiness of the beef. It's absolute perfect, a perfect mix. As I say guys, you can add this to most dishes, but it perfectly goes so well with beef, things like that. Absolutely spot on mix. Get going, make it. If you like the video, please remember to like and subscribe. It doesn't cost a penny. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up, and I'll see you when I see you. Cheers guys. Let's get this. Do you want some, Chris?